What's up to all you spiritual warriors out there? This is Dana Teresa, the metaphysical mentor. Welcome back to the Energy Center podcast. And you know what? We have reached a milestone. We are here at episode number 50. And wow, oh wow, I cannot believe how far we have come. We've been on quite the journey together. This podcast has evolved so much in such a short span of time, really only 50 episodes. And I've gone from recording this podcast in my closet to recording it in a real studio. So that was a huge quantum leap. And now this podcast is up on YouTube. It's also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So we are expanding our reach. The visibility is growing. I am growing and evolving, and I know that you are too. So welcome. It's so wonderful to have you here. Let's talk about the numerology for just a moment. So 50, when you add up 5 and 0, it just equals 5. And 5 is the number that really embodies and has the energy of all of the life elements. So earth, water, fire, air, and space. So the number 5 is bridging that gap between the physical and the non-physical. So we are going beyond the physical when we bring in or when we come to the number 5. And the number 5 has a lot to do with adventure, with journeys, with soul seeking. So we are expanding our horizons and going in even deeper to all of the wisdom and all of the knowledge that's been pouring through my channel that I'm sharing with you guys, with all of the guests that have been on. It's been such an incredible experience, and I love sharing these new and different perspectives with you. And maybe they're not even new perspectives, they're ancient wisdom perspectives for a new time on earth, let's just say. So the number 5 is going to help us go beyond the physical and come into more of those metaphysical aspects of our life, the things that we can't see and the things that maybe don't make logical sense to the thinking mind, but we can feel and we can know on a deeper, more intuitive level. So let's get to the topic of today's episode. It's going to the next level. We are taking the dragon energy and we are going to learn more about the dragon from learning about more of that divine feminine essence and the energy of the womb. So I didn't know when I woke up this morning if I was going to talk about this, if I was going to share this personal experience. And I decided I have to share this personal experience. I'm going to share this personal experience with the audience because I think it is so important. And I have a feeling that I'm not the only one here who is having similar experiences with my physical body at this time. So here we go. I'm going to talk about it. And what I'm going to talk about is my womb. I've been talking about it on social media a little bit, and it's definitely been rising up for me in my personal healing journey and my personal experience towards expansion. And why I think it is so important for us to talk about the energy and our connection and the power of the womb is because, yes, the divine feminine energy is rising. Yes, the dragon is coming in to support the divine feminine. And the way for women, especially, to access more of our sacred feminine energy and our fiery dragon energy is to connect back to the womb space. Our wombs are, and I'm talking about from a physical perspective, our wombs it's our uterus, right? But it also encompasses like all of that. So it's our ovaries, it's the cervix, it's the yoni, the vagina, like all of those parts come together to make up our womb space, our sacred womb space. And men have a womb space as well. It doesn't look anatomically like ours does as women. However, men have a sacral chakra. Women, we have a sacral chakra. The meaning of the word sacral, it is sacred. And so we all have this sacred energy center of creation. And we have been cut off from it because it is this feminine energy center, and the feminine energy has been suppressed. I talk all about the suppression of the feminine energy in previous episodes. I highly recommend you go back and listen to those because they're really important and can give you the background information for what I'm sharing today. But so feminine energy has been suppressed on this planet. Masculine energy has been excessive on this planet. And because the excessive energy has overshadowed the divine feminine energy centers, like the womb space, like the heart space, like the third eye, the way for us to really bring more of that feminine, loving, connecting, intuitive energy to this planet is to start at that lower energy center, is to start at the second chakra, is to start at the sacral energy center. And even if you identify as female and you've had your uterus removed, the energy is still with you. So we can have our body parts removed, things taken out of us, but the energy of whatever was there is still there. It's the energy, the body can change, but the energy stays the same. So we all have the ability to access this sacred womb energy. And so there's really three parts or three things that are super interesting about our womb space, and three parts that connect us to this dragon energy. And so the first essence of the womb space I will talk about today is that creative power of the womb. And so, yes, our wombs literally create babies. They make life. They house and they store the energy of life, of new life and birth, right? And at the same time, it's not just in the physical sense. It is also in the energetic sense. So just like we can come together in union with someone of the opposite sex to create a baby, we can come together with ourselves internally and with our outer world to create life, to create something special and new, to create and build our lives. And there are so many mysteries to the womb space. So within as without, or so without as within. I love this phrase when I speak to the womb space because I see this so much in like what is reflected in our external world. So I talked earlier about the number 5 and the connection to the earth and space. So space is that primordial element. Space is the element that existed before anything else in the universe existed. Space is beyond the physical, and space is actually like magical because it creates something out of nothing. And when we look up in the universe, and any like astronomer will tell you, when you take a glimpse into a black hole, right, there's nothingness there. There is absolutely nothing in a black hole. It is a complete void. And yet it's believed that the black holes throughout the universe are what keeps helping the universe to expand. It's like the things, the black holes are where things are being reborn. New stars, new galaxies, new comets, new all of the things are coming from within these black holes. And so the black hole kind of mirrors the womb space. So our sacred womb space is essentially kind of like a black hole when there's like nothing but darkness in there, right? And then some kind of magical chemical reaction happens. And yes, science will tell you like when a sperm meets an egg or what have you, right? But some kind of magical chemical reaction happens and then life is born. And so, yes, this is physical life. This is also your own life. And this creative center is not just creating babies, it is creating your life. Our sacred energy center, our second energy center, when you follow chakra theory, or when you learn about the chakras and what each one represents, the root chakra is all about grounding and connection, meeting all of your basic needs. It's essentially survival. And then the second chakra, and that sacred womb space, is all about joy and passion and creativity. So it's like once we have all of our basic needs met, once we have all of our basic needs met, we are meant to create. We are meant to experience joy. We are meant to recreate. So like the word recreate, it has the word create in it. So when you recreate, you do the things in life that you love doing. And so we are meant to do the things in our life that we love to do. We are meant to be inspired and activated by life. We are meant to feel passion and fire and excitement and joy in life. Except, again, the masculine energy has suppressed that, and we think that that's not the way we're supposed to live. We're supposed to work hard and then we die, right? That old saying. And so your womb has this creative power to create your life. And so just like in the physical world of science, the sperm meets the egg, like we're meant to let life, let the universe, let God, let the divine, let spirit, metaphorically penetrate our being. Let the energy of life and love and magic penetrate our being so that we can receive that inspiration and be inspired and build and create our lives from there. So do you see the analogy? Everything in our world is a mirror of each other. So what's happening externally is happening internally. And again, I'll say it, I feel like this point is so important. The womb space is not just for making babies, it's for making your life. It does not have a single pointed focus. It's not like a baby making machine. It is an energetic center where you have the potential and the possibility to expand your life and grow your life in directions that you can't even see are possible. And so that's the creative aspect of the womb. So I say this all the time. Our womb is like magic. It's a magical creative center. And it can't completely make logical sense to the thinking mind. You just have to know that and feel it. The other interesting thing about our womb space is that it has this incredible connection to nature. So again, what's happening without is happening within. We're coming almost into winter. We have like a few weeks left before winter time. And so, yes, the earth is like turning on its axis, turning away from the sun. It's going to be farther away from the sun where we are in the northern hemisphere. And so that means we're coming into winter. And the animals start to hibernate, and the leaves in the fall, it's still technically fall, so the leaves were falling from the tree. And so our earth, our outer world, is going through these seasons. And that's what happens inside our womb. Every 28 days or so, it goes through these different cycles, these different seasons. And it mirrors what's happening externally. So it's like in the springtime, like the energy inside the womb is building, the endometrium is building, And then in the summer, it reaches its peak. And then the fall comes outside, the leaves are falling from the trees. And then internally, then the uterus starts to shed its lining, right? So it's like just what's happening outside in our external world is happening within our womb. There is a deep and powerful connection that our womb space has to the earth. And that also makes it quite magical, don't you think? So when we are disconnected from the earth, when we don't feel comfortable, when we don't feel safe, when we don't feel secure being here on earth, when we aren't connected to our bodies, then that's when interesting things start happening with the womb space, right? That's when it shuts down. That's when it's not functioning properly. That's when it can create illness and dis-ease in the body. So if we want to be really connected to our intuition and our creative energy center, we must be connected to the earth. We must feel that divine, that sacred balance with our bodies and the earth. So that's number 2, is our womb. It has this affinity for the natural cycles of this planet. It mirrors and it mimics and it holds within what is all around us. I mean, if that's not magical, I don't know what is. And again, yeah, science will tell you, oh, it's the hormones and it's this and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's all true. But how do those hormones know when to start working? Right? How there is some kind of magical, divine energy and intervention that is possible for us to co-create and find balance in our physical body and our lives and in the world. All right. So we talked about the creativity of the womb space, the connection to the natural earth cycles of the womb space, and the last thing that is so beautiful and magical and special about the womb is our intuition. So for a really long time, what I was taught and what I believed and what still has some truth to it in my world and my knowing is that our third eye chakra is the center of our intuition. And yes, it is. But the way the chakras work, they cannot function properly or effectively without the others. And because our human experience starts by meeting our basic survival needs and then coming into the space of joy and creativity, we have to have connection to that womb space, to our womb space, to have access to our intuition. If there's not a connection there, then the intuition might be hard to access. Maybe it'll come and go sometimes. Maybe it won't feel completely aligned, or you won't understand it, or you won't get it. But here's the personal story that I was going to share. So I feel like I've always had this really open and expansive third eye energy. Except one time I went and got my human design chart read. Actually, I had that guest on the show, Corinne Mickler. And she told me that I'm a generator type and that my authority is in my sacral. So basically, like, my intuition is in my sacral energy center. And when she told me this was like a few years ago, I was like, that's weird, because I always experience my intuition up here in my third eye. And she was like, well, yeah, but this is what your chart says. And so there must be some kind of block you have that's not really letting you access that sacral authority. And I was like, yeah, okay. And, a few years passed, and lately I've been on this journey of healing my womb space. I was actually having physical symptoms erupting, coming up to the surface that were connected to my womb space. And I won't go into too much detail about what that all entailed, but it entailed a lot of irregular bleeding. And I tried things to heal it, hormone, like supplemental hormones or more natural hormones and things like that. And they weren't really working. And so I did do some Western medicine work to heal that. But then after it was healed, like Western medicine helped give me relief, but the energy was still there. So it's like I actually had a procedure done. And so the body changes, but the energy stays the same. And so I've been on this deep exploration of learning, connecting back to understanding my womb and all of the magic that it carries, and that how it was trying to talk to me and speak to me for probably years and years, and I wasn't listening. And I'll just say, when I was younger, I wasn't always the nicest to my womb space, right? And there's so many ways in which, in just our culture and in programming in general, we demonize the womb space. Sometimes you'll even hear it's like evil or oh my gosh, it's bleeding again. I have my period. Ugh, it's horrible, right? There's like so many ways in which we have been taught that there's something wrong, or our womb is gross, or it's like something to be ashamed of. And that's why that's like one of the reasons why I feel it's so important for me to talk about this on this show, because we all have had a womb at some point. We all have a womb or have had a womb at some point, if you're a woman. And it's quite natural and appropriate and important for us to talk about it and connect back to it, instead of having society tell us how we should think or feel or act or be around our womb space. Like we need to like come back to our womb space and connect to her and understand her and listen to her when she's talking to us. And so a lot of times the way the womb talks to us is when we're not listening and there's an energy that needs to be healed, is through irregular bleeding, because really that's like how she cries. That's how the womb speaks to us. That's how she shows emotion. It's like her blood is her tears. And so I've been on this journey. And one thing that I know for certain is that there is ancestral trauma that I've been carrying in my womb space. There is a family history of the women in my family having issues with their wombs, with their uteruses. And I also know that this is because I have this sacral authority in my makeup. And because I'm a highly sensitive person, I'm a very empathic person, I had a tendency for a really long time to store a lot of old emotions and pain and my own trauma in this space. And so, of course, it was blocked because there was all these other energies, some mine, some of my ancestors, that were taking up space in my womb and inhabiting my womb and not allowing me to fully access it. Nor did I understand this, right? Because we're not taught about it. We're not the divine feminine. Our ancient divine feminine teachers are not here to tell us all about the mysteries and the secrets and the gifts and the magic of the womb. And so we have to kind of learn to uncover them ourselves. And so now that I am rebuilding this connection to the womb space, it's so interesting to me, because when I ask my body for the answer, she's like, boom, right there. Like there's this response that she gives me, this internal response that I feel in that second chakra when I know it's a yes and when I know it's a no. And I used to feel that up here in my third eye, but I've dropped that awareness down into the womb space, and now that's where I feel it. And it, even when I was still feeling it up in the third eye, I would always still question it or be like, was that really a yes? And now when I feel it in the womb, it's like no, this is a yes, this is a no. There's no doubt in my mind. And so let's bring this all back home. So we've been talking about the creative magic and power of the womb. We've been talking about this beautiful connection, this divine connection to the earth that it has, and its intuitive, divine channel and gift that we all have the ability to access and receive. And so what does this have to do with dragon energy? So you might recall, again, I've done a couple episodes about dragon energy. They are so potent and powerful. If you haven't watched those or listened to those, go back and give those a listen as well. But so the dragon energy is our energy of our empowerment, of our action, of our fire. And so when we have access to this divine feminine, to this sacred feminine energy center, then it is like invoking that inner fire. It is calling forth, it is bringing in the energy of the dragon. Because the energy of the dragon is here to support the divine feminine rising, and the divine feminine is meant to use her dragon energy to be who she is in the world right now. Your sacred feminine energy wants that dragon energy to stand and to step into and stand in your power. Your sacred feminine energy wants the energy of the dragon to step into and stand in your power. And our power goes beyond our wildest dreams. All of the old programming, all of the old ways in which we see women being in the world are completely evolving and shifting and changing, because there is going to be this return to our magic. Our magic is coming back, people. Get ready for it. And so you can continue to suppress the power of your womb, or you can reconnect to it. You can continue to be embarrassed and hide and ashamed of your womb space, or you can invoke its full potential and power. And I actually really love when I talk about wombs and people get triggered by it, or they unfollow me on social media, or they unsubscribe from my email list, because that tells me that there is a trigger point there. That tells me that there is an opportunity for growth and expansion. And that means something to you. That there's a feeling there that's getting poked a little bit. And I'm not doing this intentionally. I'm just being who I am. So me just being who I am and expressing myself fully is just that. But if you feel a little poke, if someone feels a little poke around what I'm sharing, around what I'm talking about, that's an opportunity to ask some deeper questions. And that means that there's probably something that I'm sharing that there's a possibility for you to receive. So beautiful soul, I could talk about the sacred womb space all day long. And this is actually going to be a part of a series that's going to continue on with the sacred feminine and our dragon fire energy, because I know it's a part of my purpose at this time to bring this to the collective, to share this insight, to share these channeled messages, to share my creative energy and my feminine fire with the planet. Yeah. So let's just see, is there anything else? Yeah, I feel like that feels good right now, just having a little check-in with my channel. So if you want to be more of your dragon energy, if you want to experience and expand more into your fearless feminine fire, then it starts by connecting back to the womb space. That's where we have to begin, because that's where all the magic lies. And that's where the natural expansion just kind of happens and unfurls. So, if you resonated with this episode, I highly encourage you to share it with others who you feel might benefit from it. Please like, please subscribe, and share a comment below with what really landed for you, because it means the world to me to read your comments. I love responding to your comments. And it gives me that like extra life force to keep it up, to keep on going, to keep the expansion coming. And also, if you want to learn more about me, Dana Teresa, the metaphysical mentor, I recommend you head over to my website, danateresa.com. That's Teresa with a TH. You can also follow me on Instagram at Dana Teresa Star. So beautiful soul, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for helping us come to this milestone at episode number 50. I love you so much, and namaste.